So how are you today? It's kind of a gloomy day, but still weather is much better than East Coast and Middle East. Yesterday I went to LA with my advisor. He's already interested in research urban area, so I want to learn. Actually, he invited me to guide some group of people to introduce and how to understand the urban area, and then he invited me to go together. So when you go to city, what you need to see and how you need to understand all situation, no, not situation, all environment, and then try to understand what people try to express their values, their philosophy through the buildings and then kind of all things, designs or stuff, and then it was really fun trip. But I've been here about 25 years, but I never been the places in LA, so I never been in historical hotels and buildings like libraries, and then so yesterday was a day that I finally saw what it's like, what was like. So I had such a good trip, and finally I saw how city was developed and how my school is started and developed, and then so it was a really fun time. So if I don't know, maybe you guys have been there before, but if you have time and like you can go like Millennium hotels, and you can go Bradbury, hotels, like this, and Central Library, and around there. So I went to the kind of a marketplace for lunch. This is several different ethnic food was there. It's pretty okay. So maybe if you want to date, and then maybe one place there you can see and look into inside, and actually you can go in and see inside and how they decorate the buildings, how inside like, and but because of COVID, and then we cannot go inside, so we just sit outside, just peek, peek inside through the door, So so I hope you have a chance to see it. Finally, I think that you guys can get the COVID vaccine. So I don't know whether so you can get it when you guys can get the shot, and then my older daughter, she's 24, she's still waiting for the shot. So maybe government said that, and April 15th they open to over 16. So maybe she can qualify, and she needs to find a place. But and nowadays, I just got message from my daughters, and they see the kind of Johnson and Johnson, and they kind of withdrew a lot of vaccines because of the side effect, and then at least I don't know. That's why for a while they're not gonna use they're not gonna allow to inject the vaccine produced by J&J, Johnson and Johnson. So anyway, whether you have Pfizer or Moderna, and I think it's I don't know. Kind of people say, so both of them are more safer, much safer than other. Anyway, so I hope you guys sooner and later you can get a vaccine to immunize against the coronavirus. And Yeah, we last time, yeah, we are talking about the what's the kind of early church, yeah, how early church were expanded to areas. Because of the Roman government and their transportation route and their power, political power, and yeah, because of that and those, and then yeah, Christianity is kind of growing faster, and then it spread faster out, yeah, around the area, yeah, inside of the region of the Roman government. So here is the picture that yeah, around by 600, and then you can see how the Christianity is kind of expressed, and then this one is a lighter one is around 300, and then by the time, so Christianity is not allowed by the government, Roman government, yeah, people the Constantine and 312, and then they finally acknowledged the Christianity as a religion, and then before, yeah, before Constantine, and they went through a lot of persecutions, right? They throw into the den of wild animals, and then they got burned by fire, and then yeah. But still, the in the yeah kind of third second third centuries and first second centuries was the largest kind of church was in Rome. So yeah, there is a big kind of a big established Christianity there, and kind of build up their power. Yeah, start from that's why the bishop started from there, and then churches kind of institutionalized and then organized and kind of getting bigger and bigger with kind of using the words of success of Peter, yeah, that's Catholic Church, right? But I don't remember how much you guys remember about the kind of a situation in the early period, like before around 500 years, and then that is kind of a period that Christianity is kind of established in terms of the what um, doctrine, right? And they have a dispute about the nature of nature of the Christ, and some people, some kind of people don't acknowledge it that the Jesus Christ's physical body and other part, and then like Gnosticism and the what they have a dualistic, kind of a dual. At that time, it's kind of a pretty prevalent in the area. It's a kind of dualistic worldview. So spiritual stuff you cannot see, but ideally, spiritual stuff is a really holy one. They are waiting for that one. They give that gives the kind of true knowledge of God, and then but worldly stuff and then like physical stuff is the kind of low level of the truth, and then there is kind of what is it then sacred and worldly kind of kind of division is there. So that one is kind of when you read the Bible and we have kind of a perspective and evil, there is always the angel is there like that. Yeah. So that one is kind of that kind of the environment kind of caused the people get confused about their faith, right? And a lot of fathers came out and debate and kind of defense their faith, and then they finally Nicene, the council they made the decree of Nicene, and then there is kind of finally condemned in Nestorians and then Arius, and then they defined it as Trinity, triune God. So, and that was kind of 325, and they confirmed it later, and then because of the Pelagius, and then they confirmed it later on, and then so 431. And another thing is that there is kind of Mesopotamia, there is kind of religions in east side, and then they have their own religion and philosophy, and like there is kind of Christianity is kind of two. We can see later on. Then there is a western part of the Christianity and the eastern part of the Christianity, and usually this eastern part of Christianity is kind of nowadays they tend to be Orthodox, like Russian Orthodox and Coptic Orthodox and like that. But Western churches like follow in Roman Catholic Church, and later on the Protestants came out of this base. So this Orthodox Eastern Christianity is kind of really more focused on the kind of ritual stuff, but Western Christianity is more like logic. They follow the logic. So a little bit different, right? But nowadays a lot of people coming back to they try to learn from the Eastern Christianity, and because that one is kind of losing a lot of stuff, and that one is still they have their own thing, but still, it's sometimes we can think about, is it true way that the ritual is a true way that we can learn about God, and we can have a community, kind of communion with God. We can think about that one, because always, if you follow the ritual, and sometimes it might lead to lose the essence of a faith. Not all the time, but sometimes the ritual kind of enriches your heart and your faith, right? That is a big contribution in your faith. So last week, who were the migrant missionaries? Tried to go in there, and then try to share the gospel, deliver the Christianity to the people. So there is Christian soldiers, believer soldiers, and sometimes merchants, and they are paddling merchant, and they go here and there, and then they are the kind of evangelists. So sometimes was the bishops, right? Appointed by the churches, and they kind of send off, and then they try to teach to the people, and they try to defend the gospel from heresies. And some of them is kind of like a monk, right? Around 100 years, and they kind of the church are growing and organized, and then they kind of accumulate the wealth, and they build up their power, and then seems like they are kind of getting away from the true faith, and then people we call the monk. There is a monasticism and monasteries started, and they kind of through all the things, and they kind of apart from the world, and then they kind of try to build up the close relationship with God and try to live life there. It was kind of against how the current church was going at the time. So missionaries and migrant missionaries, and then they kind of evangelize, and sometimes they learned their language and kind of made their alphabet letters and then translate the Bible to their own language, right? And sometimes they build up the schools and then they try to teach, right? So little by little, and through the all activities, even though there was sufferings from pagans and sometimes from the kings and others and who are against the Christianity, and then there is personal suffering, right? And then because of the sometimes personal, sometimes the other religion but they still keep going. They was going to spread the Christianity. That's why around the 600s, and then you could see in the beginning is dark yellow is kind of around 300, and 600 is kind of all the that area always Christianity is kind of delivered, introduced, right? Okay, I want to just let you know the decree of Nicene. That was really important, creed for Christians, and then around 325, and they made it, and then 331 reconfirmed this creed. Creed, not decree. My spelling is wrong. Creed. My spell was wrong. Look at this, and then we believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and all things visible and invisible. Like, when you go to church and they kind of recite the Apostles' Creed, like that. It's based on, look at this, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, begotten from the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten and made, of the same essence as the Father. Through him all things were made for us and for our salvation. He came down from heaven, become incarnated by the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary, and was made human. He was crucified for us under Pontius Pilate. He suffered and was buried the third day, and he rose again. According to the scriptures, he ascended to heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again with glory to judge the living and the dead. The kingdom will never end. We believe in this Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life. He proceeds from the Father and the Son, and with the Father and the Son is worshipped and glorified. He spoke through the prophets, and we believe in holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. We upon one baptism for the forgiveness of sins. We look forward to the resurrection of the dead and to life in the world to come. Amen. That one is kind of Nicene creed. Creed of Nicene. That's a huge kind of frame for the Christianity. So if you go to churches, and especially the Presbyterian churches, I grew up with the Presbyterian churches, and whenever we go to church, this is a kind of not exactly the same, but it's a part of our confession based on this one. So you may have kind of you can know that one. So Okay, let's go to today's lesson about the Middle Ages. How Christianity is kind of expressed in the Middle Ages. Yeah, depends on the scholars. And then sometimes and they said the Middle Age from 500. Some scholars 800. I don't know. Depends on the, but yeah, but I followed our textbook, so we can kind of see there's 700 to 1500. It's not that period. So we called Middle Ages. Another word is going to be Dark Ages. Just think about it, around 476, and the Western Rome is kind of collapsed, right? By the barbarian tribes, and then attacked, and then they have an inside problem, but still, because of that one, they cannot against the invasion of the barbarians. So the western part of the western part of the Rome emperors kind of collapsed. The other part of the east side, east side of the I think I have. If you divide like Roman, if you this one is this part is the western part, this part is the eastern part, like this. Divide like this. I don't. Maybe like this, right? You can see later. I have a picture. So this part is a kind of a Byzantine empire still. Another the Austro gold is kind of this area, and then they continued until around 1400. But this one is Western Romans is kind of fell in around 476. Six. I think it's 2 or 6. Confusing. And there is some. This period. There's around 600. Later on the 7th century. The Muslims kind of formed, and Islam is kind of formed, and then keep have contact with the Muslims and gold, and coming down this way. They're always coming down. This is Visigoth, and this is Ostrogoth. They are kind of establishes the Eastern Roman Empire, but the Visigoth is kind of they had ruled for a while in this Western Empire. And church is kind of established, and then they have kind of extra biblical doctrines such as purgatories, and they practice their churches, and then purgatories. And so if you die and you cannot go straight to the heaven, there's a place that you're waiting. So sometimes if you are not enough, and you're gonna stay there. So maybe people who are here in the world, and they pray for you guys, pray for them, and pray for kind of give them offerings, and then they are kind of okay, and then they go to heaven like this, and then they have kind of it's hard to see that one, but some there is kind of one two indication there, but not all about it. It's hard to, but there is kind of extra doctrines. Maybe it's the way that you can you accumulate more power and accumulate more wealth, right? The Catholic Church in the Middle Ages used kind of stuff, and then okay, he dies, and then he's here, and then not yet, and then you gotta keep praying for them. You gotta do good more and for them, and you gotta kind of offer, make more offerings like this, Still in the beginning, so still they are not, the apart like this, and still this is Vikings, right? They are still, the Christians doesn't go up to that part, and this is the, it doesn't go up to the part yet. So, churches, Catholic churches, that time it's not wrong, Catholic church, right? Church is kind of corrupt, church was corrupted, and then used their position to gain wealth and political power. So always there's kind of a battles between kings and popes. Sometimes they get along with it, sometimes they are not get along with it, they fight each other. So you could, I think so you learn from stories. But that's why that is kind of they at that time there's a Christendom is kind of they put their religion and then government to put together, and then that's why sometimes the Pope is kind of more power than the king. So give them really, really influential to the on kings. And another dark side of the churches is the pardon the illegitimate kind of children. Catholic Church kind of set up the celibacy, so you cannot have a family and you have to devote your life to God, but it's not easy for, especially for men. And illegally they had children, and some people said that's why kind of openly started, but I don't know exactly. But there is a dark side of the church, right? Corruption and powers and wealth and morally kind of a corruption, corrupted, moral corruption, right? But even though the situation is kind of worse, but the gospel continued to expand to the rest of the Western Europe. Interesting, right? And so finally the gospel go up to Scandinavia and Eastern, part of Eastern and Europe and Russia and Middle East and North Africa and Central Asia. Maybe that's the way that you can show your power, and maybe you can show your wealth. That's why they try to send the bishops and monks and support the monk, and then and show kind of control the area, and that's maybe some reasons there, like the European imperialism started in around Middle Ages, and then Anyway, sometimes we don't know, but still, really there is a darker side is there, but still we believe that, and still God, even though they are kind of doing wrong, but sometimes through them still the kingdom of God is growing and expanding, because the truth delivered to the others, their eyes are open to see God, and then they are saved. So at that time, even though it's a kind of darker side, their church was growing. So you gotta remember that one. And then the key missionary was the bishops and monks, right? Bishops usually kind of sent by churches. And but monks, and they have their own, kind of ascetic life, and they kind of away from the world, and they have their own community and the communal life, and then they kind of build, they build up the close relationship with others and try to reach out to people. That's a monks, right? Usually two groups, these two groups, contribute to deliver the gospel, gospel around where Scandinavia and Eastern Europe and Russia and other part of the world, right? So we're gonna see today how the gospel kind of delivered to Western Europe. At that time, it's one of the key players for the kind of these missions is mendicant. It's like they came out in 13th century. They rejected the riches and then the greed and power. They tried to embrace the poverty and humility. So they don't kind of they are against the church. To think about churches try to accumulate the power and wealth, right? Kind of against them and try to find the pure faith and practice the pure faith, and that's why they post poverty. And they do not get anything. So some monks, usually they don't get any lot of stuff, and then just one kind of gowns and just a step. I told you, step and just living and just around and try to share the gospel. So member, that's a mendicant is kind of the member of any several Roman Catholic religious orders who assumes a vow of poverty and support himself and herself by work and charitable contribution. That is a kind of the mendicant, kind of a hard word, mendicant. So we say there's a monk, right? So in the Middle Ages, and then there is kind of the Augustine. They followed the rules, teaching of Augustine of Hippo, in North Africa. They be called Austin pirates. And then there are Carmelites, and there is a white friars. The Dominicans we call the black friars, and then Franciscan is a gray friars. And Benedictines, they established around 500 and around 500 and 400, 500 at the end of 400, 500, but they kind of reformed in the Middle Ages. So these are the kind of the Austin friars, and then white friars and black friars, and then gray friars are the kind of main monks. And then at that time they work kind of work as missionaries. Do you know why they named it like white Austin and then black? Because of their outfit. There is kind of I consider this one is kind of the Franciscan gray friars. They wearing the gray friars. Dominicans kind of they're wearing black, but inside is white. They have their own things. I saw that the Austin, they have all blacks. So little bit different. Their outfit is a little bit different, and maybe because of that one they can identify. But later on, I think so, yeah, when you kind of Google and type in this one and then, yeah, the output is, different now. Just think about this monasteries, it's really, really, important. Because they kind of, they made a remote kind of community, and then they kind of shut down kind of from the world, and then they pursue their simple life and to be devout life. So they pray and they want to be devout Christians, right? And what's just think about the monasteries and then monasteries, and this also their members really try to be poor, and then but as times going by, and then as time was going by, and what happens? Still, monastery has have power because a lot of people donate something, and then they give them more influence, right? Still, in the beginning, they start with the right motivation and good motivation, but as time goes by, and they become like a church. But that's why people are kind of against the kind of the corruption of the churches and corruption of the monastery, and then they developed their own kind of religious order in Catholic Church. They are the kind of and Augustine, Austin, friars, and white friars, and the black friars, and then gray friars. But at that time, the monasteries really, really, played a very, very important role in Christianity. That place was kind of an education center. So a lot of people kind of come to the place and kind of learn and educated, right? Sometimes, and then they kind of produce a lot of kind of publish a lot of books and Bibles. So we can understand what's going on and what happened, and through their kind of writings. That's why it's really, really important at the time. But look at this. One of the examples is Dominicans, black, friars. They called like white preachers or the black friars, and because their kind of outfit is kind of wear the black coat over the white habit. Inside is kind of white and wear the kind of black coat. And that's a Castilian, who is from the Spain, and then Priest Dominic, Dominic de Guzman, he's found this order, Dominicans, and they are really intellectual. They try to pursue the kind of humility and then poverty, but they are really intellectual. So their mission was for kind of debating with the heresies and wrong, the doctrine, and then what? Try to give them right faith, right? So that is their main. Yeah, that's why they have a lot of writings, and then they have, look at this too. And one of the I think so you guys know the Thomas Aquinas and the Summa Theologica. And then he kind of posted that one though. It's a basic doctrine of Christianity. So they are the kind of apologetics. They are debater to introduce the vessel. Christianity to the heresy or to the kind of to those who have unsound, non-biblical doctrines. So they start in monastic and mission base in France. 1206. And later, around the fourth, Lateran Council in 1215, kind of established a monastery and here and there, especially France and Italy and Spain. Later on, in England and Germany and Denmark and Hungary and Poland and Greece and Jerusalem. Kind of they're kind of what? Just think about it. They're spread over all European countries, and just think about even the Scandinavia, right, and Greece, and even Jerusalem. So they're recognized around 2016 officially, and they are really academic, right? And the intellectual and develop the preaching manuals and resources and to support the other churches and the monks. Really vital in theological study to repeat the heresy. That is their one of the big strength. So the voluntary poverty is an important means to reach the heretics, right? Maybe like nowadays, and then you see the churches, and then they are bigger and bigger, and mega churches, and then you maybe hear a lot of negative news from the churches, and then people are turned around from churches, right? But I don't know. Nowadays a lot of churches kind of learn from the kind of a mistake, and then they try to renew themselves, and then but sometimes it does. It's kind of the working is slow. It's not rapidly and kind of radically, right? Maybe that's why the monks willing to give up their power and willing to give up their wealth and kind of show themselves, and we are the Christians, not pursuing the power, not pursuing the wealth, and so they try to reach the people, reach especially who has unsound doctrines and who are the kind of heretics, right? They don't have right doctrines. That's the Dominic, Black Friars. Look at this, how we can see how Scandinavia Scandinavians become Christians, Christendom, and little by little they kind of accept the Christianity. Just think about the Scandinavians, people we remember they are Vikings, and then they are really barbarians, right? They attacked the Ireland and Britain and other countries. Wow, they don't know about Bible. They don't know about cultural heritage, and they attacked and plunders and then pillages, and then kind of destroyed and burned the monasteries, and then kind of they there's some monasteries and a lot of things, and then they kind of robbed all things, and then that's what they did. So at that time, they lost a lot of Christian heritage because they burned. So especially during the coastal land, because they used to ships, and then they come over here and they attack a lot. So let's see. But just think about it, how they become Christians. How did the Vikings become Christians? So there is a lot of theories, but I got 3 theories. And then one is that they come down and then they plunders and they got captive to their countries, and then there was a lot of Christians there. And even though they captive, there's a kind of slave, and sometimes they take the woman and then they married. The woman is kind of Christian, and they become Christian later, like that. By the captive, and then Christian captive, and they turn to Christians. And another theory is that it's a lot of people like North Ireland and other around their countries, and then they settled there, and they got influenced by the Christians. So they became Christians. Another way is that let's see. And another way is that still, remember, a lot of missionaries, and then so from the England and British also, and Saint Wilbrod in the mission to Denmark in around 725, and then still a lot of missionaries are working with the area people. So that's why they slowly turn to the Christianity. And so almost, okay, let's go back. So one of the missionaries is Ansgar Corby. He served in Denmark and Sweden in northern region of the Frankish empires, and then he followed the Benedictine rules, and he's one of the missionary who worked with Saint Wilbrod already before him. He tried, but he's really great contributors. Usually, what he does, and then he establishes school. He preached, and he preach, right? So that is his kind of main strategies. And evangelize and kind of evangelism and preaching and evangelism, and what he established a school and teach. That is the main his kind of strategies. And then What about the Denmark? It's around 826, kind of exiled king was Harold Clark, was baptized with his wife, and then he was exiled, and then around he exiled, and but he became a Christian. He got baptized with around 400 officials, and then took Christian missionary with them when he returned to Denmark. That's why usually one of the strategy, one of the way that to establish Christianity in the country, first of all, the king become a Christian, and the king forced the whole people, the people to convert to Christians, right? That was, if a king converted to Christianity, the country is easily to turn to Christianity, like Denmark. And then his team, Ansgar and his team, and keep helping, right? And they help preach the gospel, and they evangelize people, and then starting school and call the people and educate. And then that's the way that they usually do. And then later on, just think about, he had a hardship, anchors and teams and hardship, and then anti-Christian backlash is happened, but still it doesn't stop at that point, right? What about Sweden? Look at this the same. The king, Bjorn, I don't know the exact sound of Sweden, sent ambassador to Louis the Pious to send the Christian leaders to his people around 380. But think about the missionary around the areas. So was the answer strategy in Sweden was to connect with the diaspora Christians there, and his main ministry was preaching and start a school there. So he tried to find the Christians there, and then he preached and then start a school with them. So he is really, at the time, so he contributed a lot to the biking missions. He's born in Germany. He grew up in monastery. So from early ages, I don't know whether he got called, how he got called, but still he ready for his future life. Prepare for his life. So he is known for known as the apostles of the North, because of his travel. The See of Hamburg received the missionary mandate to bring Christianity to Northern Europe. So he contributed the Christianizing the Northern Europe. He is still in German, his own countries, and then there is a movement is there. I don't know, Charlemagne, the King Charlemagne, he did a lot of work like this. Charlemagne is the king of the Franks and Germanic tribe in around their times, and the areas, and then he embarked mission teams, right, to unite all German people into kingdom. So convert his subject to Christianity, kind of, okay, he became a king and what? Kind of forced, maybe forced them to convert to Christianity, right? So he did a lot of things, but still his way, one of the ways, kind of what, used his power and kind of that's why he spent a lot of time engaging in warfare to accomplish his goal. It means that kind of he used the power, so, but one of his contributions is to kind of encourage the Carolean Renaissance, kind of cultural intellectual revival in Europe. So it is kind of the first of the three medieval Renaissance, in the period of the cultural activity in Caroleans and empire. So what is that? And then they try to kind of think about the 4th century's Roman empires, and then kind of get the idea from there and apply the architect and then writings and then drawings and literatures and liturgies, so, and Bible studies. So they kind of, there's a revival there. So Charlemagne kind of told people, okay, he kind of followed the Renaissance. So kind of around the time, and the unscoured mission base in Hamburg in 832 served a kind of a staging point for the mission to Scandinavia. So it's really, really important, right? So he still, he had a lot of support from the king. Louis the Pious, and then get a lot of support from king, and established monastery and churches, libraries, schools to send a missionary to the Scandinavia. It's kind of that was kind of base center, right? And trained, and it's really strategic. So he employed an innovative strategy for recruiting new missionaries. So he bought a fleet of Danish or Slav boys, right? Maybe they captivated and they were slaves, and he bought them and trained them for ministry and sent them out in missions. So nowadays, we try to do that, right? And a lot of missionaries go to other countries, and then, and when I see Korea, and then missionary came, and then see the people who really kind of smart, I don't know whether they are qualified, and the missionary send them to the, America, and then educate them. A lot of people, right? But he used to kind of strategy. So maybe it works, and then he willing to pay for them, and then let them be free, and then kind of discipline them, and then send them. So still Viking attacked Hamburg and burned the churches and monasteries, and then destroyed Bibles and other books. Yeah, I already told you. And they came to Germany and then what? Destroyed the monasteries and it's a part of what? The Ansgar kind of established and they got attacked by the Vikings. So around the 10th and 11th centuries, and Christianity is kind of prevailed in Scandinavia. So sometimes there is a public conversion and baptism by kings, and then king kind of told the people kind of convert to Christianity. Anyway, so there is a lot of things happened, and then they around almost 900, around 800, 900, and 1000, and 1000 and 11,000, and that time, so most of the Scandinavian countries have become Christian countries. So even though look at the times around the hundreds and 1000 and 1100s, and there is a Christianity kind of moving up and reach out to Scandinavia, but they are losing the ground in North Africa and other areas because of the Muslim was growing. What about the Norway and Finland and Greenland and Iceland? Look at this, and there is kind of Norway, and the former Viking, Olaf, Tree Givenson, I don't know, Tree Givenson become a king of Norway in 995, and kind of forced the Norwegian to join his new faith. So Swedish king Eric VI, 11th, forced the Finnish people to become Christians. What about Viking Eric the Red and his son were brought to Greenland in the 11th century? What about Thorgir, Thorkelus, the pagan law speaker, and he's kind of he's a pagan, but he later on his island parliament should accept Christianity, and all the Icelandic people should be baptized, and he got baptized. Just think about it like a king, powerful person in the country kind of turn to Christians and turn to become a Christian and and the whole country, the kingdom turn to follow their faith, right? That's the way that kind of worked at the time. What about the Eastern Europe and Russia? So today we're not go so far, and then even though Viking by themselves and kind of by the captives, and then sometimes they by their settlement, or sometimes the missionaries and then influence on them to become Christians, and then when king turned to Christians, and then the whole people, whole country kind of influenced to turn on Christians, right? Kind of accepted their faith. That is the kind of way that the Scandinavia is kind of not easily, but they become turned to Christian countries, like 11th century and 12th centuries. But what about the Eastern Europe and Russia? That means that the Christianity is kind of by the time, so European countries are still, the Muslims cannot come to European countries at that time. They already North America and North Africa and then Arabic Peninsula already the war. And some area, mostly the Spain, and the Muslims kind of controlled. But still, the European countries are kind of safe from the Muslim, Islamic, kind of movement. And but still, the Christianity is growing kind of, the North, Europe, and then Eastern Europe, right? The eastern area is kind of nowadays Hungary and around the area, and the Slavic people, kind of Slavic tribes, and then around still so a lot of missionaries are still going on. Like Columbans already tried to reach out to Slavic people, and maybe even without the kind of previous kind of mission activities, it's not easy. I think it's not easy to kind of reach out to people because of the previous work, it kind of paved the foundation and introduced the gospel, and then maybe it helped to kind of be less resistant to Christianity. But sometimes kind of with the kind of the foundation, and the king turned to the Christianity, and then they easily kind of followed the new faith, right? Like some Moravia, the king of the world, the prince, Ratislav of the Moravia, and then request the Christian leaders in A62, right? And then just think about the kind of doors opened, and then so we can send the missionaries, and we can send the people who can teach about Christianity, and then start the new religion is growing in the countries. So look at this, and then they are already, it's kind of, I don't know their cultural background exactly, but they are already, some part is really common and easy to understand the faith, such as like they have monotheist gods. Do you know that the Greeks and do you know that the Romans have become polytheistic, right? They believe a lot of gods, not the one gods. But Slavic people, like their area, so Bulgarians and Croats and Serbs, and already they have kind of they believe there was a pagan god, but still monotheist, only one god. That's why I think it's more easier than to accept their Christianity, who had one God, right? But we believe in Trinity, so I don't know how they deal with it. Like initial, I already told you, initial mission started in the early 7th centuries, when the Bishop of Rome sent the missionaries, like Wilbur, right? And the Columban, But they embrace Christianity though. And so still Frankish is kind of the Germans and Greek missionaries still keep working and working, and then they accepted Christianity, right? So we shouldn't even know that the missionaries work, even though King kind of turned to new faith and forced them his people to accept the new faith, but still, that the missionaries who went ahead of the situation, went ahead of that, and then they already established the foundation. He is the Cyril and then Methodist. They are the brothers. They are really smart people, and they are chosen, and they are really diplomatic, and they had a mission experience and fluent in Slavic language. They are well equipped for the Slavic people, and then they become missionaries. So they developed the Slavic alphabet, and I think at that time there is no letter, and they developed the alphabet and then translated the Byzantine, translate the Bible, right? And translated the Byzantine liturgy. And I hope you remember, but there is kind of a conflict inside the missionaries, and then I from the German, you from there, and I from there, and kind of there is a little bit disagreement of the doctrines, and then kind of there is a discrepancy because of their organization, whatever, and then churches, and then there is kind of tension was there, but still, there is a tension is right here. Okay, we cannot. There was a missionary from German, and then they said, okay, was Latin and Greek and Hebrew are the only acceptable language of Christian worship. So they against the kind of Slavic alphabet and language. So, but still, but even though that one they kind of developed and then translated, right? And they do more than that one, and then they organize more kind of monasteries, kind of ascetic community, like expanded into Poland and Bohemia and Croatia and Russia. So they did a lot of stuff, right? In education and publish and preaching. The materials, and later on, the material that the Slavic Christianity made and contributed to shaping the Eastern Orthodox Christian, as well as the culture. It means that there is a kind of Eastern Christians and regional Western Christians that influenced by the Eastern and Constantinople and Constantinople and later to think about it, and even their influence on their Orthodox Christianity, and furthermore, and then give them great influence on their cultures. It means that they developed the Christian cultures, right? So you can see a lot of people from Romania and the area, and Serbia, and tennis player Djokovic, always who played good and who did good and always like this, right? That's orthodox. Look at this the picture. So when I said it, and this is part is kind of we called Western Western Christianity kind of influenced that part is Western Christianity. This part is the Eastern Christianity influenced this way, right? So usually this way is kind of what they are Orthodox, like Greek and Russia, but they are different from Catholic. They develop own Christianity. This part is based on the Roman Catholic, and but later on, 15th, 16th century, what happened, right? So kind of there is a Protestant against the Roman Catholic, and then they developed a new, Christianity. But generally speaking, we call the Christianity including all of Orthodox and Roman Catholic and Protestant, and regardless of whether, we count them Christianity. Look at the Russia, and so around I didn't read any kind of missionary for this. This area is like Slavic people live in bottom part of Slavic people live, and then the kingdom is kind of a little bit different. The kingdom is kind of what is Kievan Rus is kind of 10th, 11th, 12th centuries kind of they already established the kingdom there. So and there is a Princess Olga, the Kiev. She became a Christian when she visited Constantinople, and she became a Christian, and she got baptized. And so what happened there, and then her husband killed by Dravidians is kind of the tribes around lives around Poland, kind of Poland and Hungary, that area, and they lived there, and the Dravidians and they killed her husband, and then she became a kind of king because her children, her child is too young. So she became a king, and then she ruled the Rus, right? The Rus. They don't call the Russia at the time; it's called the Rus. And then she's kind of eventually she revenged it's kind of assassination of her husband. First time there was a Dravidians and kind of signed there was the prince, and then she kind of cheated, and they signed was the killer, sent the killers what the sons, and then you're gonna marry him, and then let's kind of establish the kingdom together, and then she kind of lied, and the next day she dug the hole. So whole boat, she brought the boat. They came, and then whole boat and kind of dug into the kind of the hole and buried. So she killed the whole kind of ambassadors, and there was Dravidian king, still didn't know what happened. They sent another messengers, and then they kind of killed them. Yeah, they kind of they told them to stay there, and then what? They kind of and kind of burned and killed them. So kind of 3 times she had kind of a revenge on the Dravidians, and she kind of established a kingdom. So she became a Christian when she visited was at Constantinople, and then she came back and tried to convert his son to Christian, but it didn't work very well. And then while she was reigning, and then still her country, kind of kingdom, is not the Christian, not the Christian, turned to Christianity, totally, But her grandson, King, Vladimir, and then around 900 to 1015, he embraced Orthodox Christianity, right? So he forced them, his country people, and what? To become Christians. That's why in the countries kind of and they developed the Orthodox Christianity. But interestingly, they developed their own stuff, right? I know that they got influenced by the missionaries, and they got influenced other people, but still they developed the kind of liturgy and scriptures and kind of the indigenous form of Christianity. Means that just think about it when you accept when a country accepts Christianity, and sometimes they just follow the religion that they never known, and kind of it's not matching with Christianity, their culture. Like, just think about let's think about when Korea accepted Christianity, and then what happened, and then just think about the communion, right? So while I was in I grew up in rural area, and then we cannot get the grape juice or grape something like that. So somehow we don't use our own traditional stuff like other beverage. We don't drink the wine, but the Israel use the wine, and other countries has the wine, but we don't drink the wine, right? We have our own things like alcohol stuff, and then we even though we don't use the alcohol, but still we can use the beverage that we have, but we don't use that one. We willing, but it's boring, but we willing to accept what and grape juice or wine for the communion. That is kind of it's not a indigenous, right? It's not contextualized. I know there's a lot of issue between kind of a contextualized and what the syncretism, or contextualized, and then just kind of you don't have this word, and we don't have this kind of a ritual. It's not easy to understand. It's not kind of it's really really foreign. The contextualized in that kind of when you translate, and when you teach this one, and they look up their cultures and try to see the similar one, and then use that one to explain, and then put together. That's a contextualized. But usually we gotta be careful about the syncretism. Syncretism is kind of this is what the essence of the what? The Christianity. This is their own culture, indigenous cultural stuff, and then they mix together and create different things. That's a syncretism. Mixed together, right? There is a kind of distorted what is the gospel and the distorted the Bible teaching. But Russians kind of developed their own things, right? That just seems like I don't know exactly how much they kind of contextualized and the original stuff. But I never been in Orthodox Church, and I never been in Russian Orthodox Church. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't see kind of detailed stuff, and then maybe I need to further research for that. But they have their own things. That's kind of desirable way that they kind of developed their own faith, right? So the end of around 1500 in western part, like Christianity is kind of growing up to what? And this area, right? And start in where's the eastern area, and then that's the kind of Slavic area right here, right? And then what's the Rose is here around here, and then go all the way, and all the way here, and then look at this kind of influence on the Christianity there. So you could see the color is kind of it is like what? This color is a Muslim country, right? And around 1250s, look at, can you see that one? The little bit light yellow. Light yellow is kind of, there is kind of Muslims reign. Muslim, Islamic religions kind of influence on the area, but around 1500, and because of I think the Ottoman Empire extended all the way, right? And look at this and this way, and that's why still there is a lot of Muslims here in that area. And then that is kind of Eastern Slavic people is kind of Christian. No. I messed up. That's the Slavic people is here, and then there is kind of Roses here, and then they become Christians, right? And look at this, and just and around before around 10th century, so already it's kind of this one is the Muslim has power in this area, right? And 1300 and 1500. But think about the Christianity is kind of we don't go to the 12, 15 around there, but still Christianity is kind of still this area, right? Still this area, and then this area is kind of combating, but I didn't talk about today, and then this one is the Islamic influence on Bosnia, and then they are kind of still they are Muslims. But just think about it, that area in the kind of the only western part of Europe, and stay Russia's here, then go back, and then there is still Serb, and then there is Orthodox countries and Christians there, but there is Muslims, influence there later on. So still, you consider, Christianity is kind of developing around that area, around 1500, yeah. Look at that one is kind of Spain, still, but later on around 1500, maybe next week we're gonna talk about the Crusade movement, and then we can talk about how the other part, the kind of eastern part, how the kind of gospel is spreading, and then we consider kind of a dynamic between Islamic, the religion, and Christianity. But today is kind of, I wanna let you know that the Christianity is kind of expanding in what? The Eastern Europe and up to the Russia, right? That's today lessons, and then one thing is I'm gonna try to summarize today lectures. Just think about it, and then even though the dark ages, and then still we can see a lot of negative side of the churches, and like nowadays, but still. Because of the people who had passion for missions, and they still, whether it's a right way, it's a wrong way, but still, the Christianity is kind of introduced to other countries, right? But still, just without and previous work, like, keep mission is kind of, before kings turn to kind of faith, but still a lot of missionary work is there, and then kind of later on when king kind of convert to Christian and had new faith, and then when they forced these people to turn to Christianity, and then it worked very well. Still, we consider that how they become a Christian, Christian countries, and then it's not a grassroots movement. It's not from the all the way ordinary people. It's not from the who doesn't have power in the country. So always top down, not bottom to top, but top to bottom kind of movements. Still, so, and still establishing school is kind of one of the effective ministry at the time. So you can see that was Ansgar, he established school, and from the base camp he sent the kind of missionaries, and he educated kind of captives, and he educated and let them turn to the Christians and then send them back, right? That's one of his way that he does. It's a little bit different perspective. If you are not Christian, maybe you cannot understand, but if you are Christian, just think about how God used the situation to reach out to people. Vikings, right? Still missionary working, but a lot of different ways that they influenced by the Christians. Was Christians and was Christian captives, whatever, and they got influenced by the Christians. Even though, that's why it's kind of easy to, turn to Christian countries in Scandinavia countries, right? So we gotta know that another thing is that at this period in the West, who was the main role for the missions? Who were the migrant missionaries? They are the what? Monks and bishops who sent by the churches, and who had sent kind of a voluntary, becoming evangelists and to share the gospels, right? And then they have their own community, and they recognized by the churches, and they kind of they have their own mission activities, like Franciscan and like Dominicans, and like Augustine, they have their own orders and then try to have kind of a simple life and pursuing poverty and humilities and kind of this is from against the kind of trend of the church who pursuing the power and wealth, but they want to reach out to their way. So we could see how the Franciscan kind of reach out to the Muslims. There is a kind of battles between Christianity and Islamic religion, Islams at the time. But yeah, there is a lot of hurt between them. But the Franciscans and then they try to show the good mother to reach out to the Islamic peoples, Muslims, right? Yeah. Today, I guess that's all up to here, and then, so, just remember, what you learn, and then I think it's good to know that, how the gospel is spreading and little by little. It's not little by little, but sometimes God used desirable way. Sometimes God used undesirable way. It's not pursuing the kind of God, let them do bad stuff. Not that one, but God is always good. But sometimes, people do kind of people has doesn't have a right mind, but because of that one, kind of Christianity introduced, and then later on, they kind of had a chance to correct. But through the Middle Ages, and then just think about it, how come is it kind of church, the Christian communities and Christian churches are kind of corrupted. So how can we keep going on, not kind of pursuing the worldly stuff and then pursuing God and kind of pursuing life that God wants us to live. That is kind of nowadays kind of struggling in America, right? So some Christians, they want to use the political power to protect themselves. Some of them, that's wrong. So we're willing to take our, whatever comes to us, and we gotta face with our faith. But in real situation, a lot of people are kind of scared and they don't speak out their faith, right? But a lot of people, just think about a lot of people, they speak out their faith, right? Sometimes, this is one is kind of a different one, but think about it. Through the Middle Ages, and then how God used the kind of time period to spread the gospel to the other part of the world, right? Okay, so this is a history, and then a lot of political stuff, and then when I read some stories, it's kind of boring. But I don't know whether you are interested in. Try to read other books if you are interested in. And then you can get more information about it. And but this class is kind of see how Christianity is kind of expressed through the kind of movement of the migrant missionaries, right? So we're gonna see that one. That's why today we so how the with the Northern Europe kind of become Christian countries. Okay. Anyway, you guys can take care and have a great week. And then, I'm not kidding. So if you need something, want to talk, and just let me know. Yeah, so you can get my email address. Yeah, I already gave you, and then you can maybe, you can reach. If you, I think last time I wrote wrong my email, so you can reach. Yeah, you can reach to the office and you can get the email, and then you can email to me. Yeah, if you have any questions and if you want to talk about something, lectures and then other things. Any question? Okay, and take care and see you next week. Okay, bye.